Let's take a look at what's on the roster for when we get to Karosta. Looks like fun and games for all the family. In a slightly spooky, creepy, maybe even scary kind of way. A Soviet-time buffet with a real buffetchitsa. Never heard of that before. Open daily, 9 in the morning till 7 in the evening. That's June, July, August. May and September, open daily 10 till 6. If you're coming October to April, I guess you're out of luck. Maybe you'll only be coming as a prisoner. There's a sign on the long road to Ukraine. Actually, there are a lot of industrious bees among those flowers. Camera's not going to be picking them up, I'm sure. They're the very small bee variety. The worker bees, probably. But they're out there gathering pollen. On this fine morning in Liepaja, I've come to, almost to Karosta, to the northern limit of Liepaja as such, where it meets a canal which has a very interesting bridge up ahead. This is the main reason I've come this route. The thing about this bridge is it moves horizontally, and at certain hours of the day the bridge moves, sort of turns, and is inaccessible to traffic and pedestrians, so you can't get across the canal. According to the schedule online, what we're seeing here sort of makes sense, because now it doesn't actually, because what I saw online suggested that you can't cross the bridge between 10:30 in the morning and 12:30 because it will have swiveled and made it possible for ships to actually pass along the canal. Seems to make sense to have a routine where everybody knows what the timetable is. A couple of swans down there. Now, why weren't they at the swan pond the other day? They hadn't read the script, had they? Well, now back to the bridge. I say, the timetable sort of made sense when I approached, because there was a queue, and sure enough, as we've just missed the 10:30 slot, I just got here a little bit too late to officially be able to cross the bridge. I shouldn't be able to. So, what does this mean? It means you can't necessarily trust what you see online, which of course we already know. The reality is, actually, it seems to be kind of the other way round. So, you know what I'm thinking? I misunderstood the English translated version of the schedule. Probably that makes more sense, doesn't it? Especially knowing what my brain can be like sometimes. But I tried to get here roughly sort of just before 10:30 so I could cross but also see this bridge in movement. And while I failed really to capture that exciting horizontal movement of this bridge, nevertheless, at least the cup is half full, because the fact that it's just moved back into place and opened up for traffic and pedestrians means I can actually cross, which is rather nice. So once we get over this bridge, then we can say greetings from Karosta, because Karosta is in Liepaja. Got to think of it like that. On the other hand, it was a sealed off military town, and the maps of the day back in the Soviet era certainly didn't show the canal which used to house submarines and other military vessels of the Soviet Navy. Interesting when you happen to see an old map like that in a museum and you're trying to get your head around, hang on a minute, something's changed, and then you get the explanation that it was because it was top secret, because nuclear submarines, that kind of topic, not something that the Soviet Navy wanted a lot of people to know about. But it had been a military town long before the Soviets. In Tsarist Russia, of course, the Tsar had his imperial navy, using the natural advantages of Liepaja's canals and harbours to his advantage. It would have been cool to see the bridge moving around. On the other hand, it wouldn't have been so pleasing start to the morning if I'd been stuck there for 2 hours just waiting for the bridge to move back. There is an alternative, of course. You can walk back a few hundred meters and pick up number 22 Marshrutka minibus. That number 22, well, according to Google Maps, it comes over the bridge. But what it does when the bridge isn't open, isn't accessible, is it goes a roundabout way and then brings you up towards the centre of the settlement of Karosta. So this was a place which was off limits, a sailors' town, but families here as well. Much neglected since the fall of the Soviet Empire. More ethnic Russians than ethnic Latvians are likely to be living up here these days. Properties can be really dilapidated. Oh, mind your step. And ridiculously inexpensive as a result. You could buy apartments here for 3,000–4,000 euros not so long ago, but they were in horrendous conditions, in horrendous unmaintained buildings. From the look of them, it always appeared to me, well, were they actually ever finished? Certainly the road maintenance leaves a lot to be desired, doesn't it, these days? Oh, there's the number 20, is it 28 or 23 shuttle? I know the number 22 comes up here, and you got the number 25, and it looks like the number 23 does as well. Here we are. Top of the list, according to this, in about a kilometre's time, if you turn right, is the Karosta prison and the Karosta prison experience. There's another kilometre on, a manege. I don't know what that is. Is it some kind of zoo? And last but not least is Tarzan Park, which I think you can guess. They're usually called Tarzan Parks in the Baltics. Treetop height walking on rope ladders, for example. For me, my first port of call will be the prison. Someone else has been busy here. I wonder if this is connected in any way to the prison. And I'm also wondering if the prison is just up here. You know, I have trouble pinpointing the exact entrance to some attractions. But because there's a tour bus, actually there were 2 tour buses which have just moved off, that encourages me to think that maybe the entrance to the Karosta prison site is up here. But it wouldn't surprise me at all if I got that wrong and we end up going 3/4 of the way around the building, around the block, to actually get to the front door, the front gate. I'm hoping the video experience today is better than the last video. I have to admit, my camera, which is not the greatest, it's, as somebody mentioned a while ago, not a GoPro, it's a no-pro. And it just started doing some quirky things. Up in Ventspils, there was one day when it just started turning itself off, which is a bit frustrating because I obviously can't see, looking this away, whether it's actually filming. Better check. It is now. Yep, it's filming right now as we speak. Yeah, frustrating. I didn't lose too much essential footage, if I can call it that, laughably. My videos, essential footage. Shouldn't be mentioned in the same sentence, should they? But what I tried to do when I pieced the footage from Liepaja harbour and beach and seaside park all together. Ah, hello. So this looks like the visitors centre, and this is the entrance. Okay, so you come across the bridge, you keep walking, you take pretty much the first right to Riders Ayala, just after that information board. Then the road starts turning round in a right-handed sweep. Then look out for the possibility of taking a left up here, because there's nothing on to Riders Ayala pointing up this way to say the prison's up here or the prison entrance is up here. We've got the timetable in Latvian and English. Visits in Karosta prison are guided tours only. And I recall coming here and thinking, actually, it was nice enough having, you know, I'm not a big fan of guided tours, to be honest. I don't want to listen to somebody else blabbing on. I've got enough voices in my head as it is. You can understand that. So, 10 in the morning till 6. And on the hour, there are those guided tours. If you feel like coming. Part of the experience will be to see an introductory film, a video film. Then you'll get a lady who is dressed up in uniform, along with all the other people in there, who will give you a talk, and short talk, and then a walk around the prison itself. You might also have noticed, what's this? Yeah, you can still, it seems, I wasn't sure if they still did it, but you can have an overnight experience if you wish to stay at Karosta prison. Get barked at by guards. Suffer sleep deprivation. And I did hear while I was on the tour last time when I visited that there was one Italian guy who was asking if he could be beaten. Yeah, sadomasochist, I presume. Certainly a masochist. But yeah, they didn't actually oblige him, understandably. Although in the real prison life, I'm sure that would have just come with a serving of breakfast. So here we are, complete with watchtower. But I'm not going to go in because I've already been before and it's relatively fresh in my mind. I don't feel I need to go again, even though that was back in possibly 2015. But the ticket is a standard ticket, €7. If you want a little bit of the experience, having a man in uniform shouting at you, commanding you to do certain things for a short period of time, that's an extra euro. So it will cost you €8 for the full experience. I would recommend the tour. €7, was it worth it? Would I pay? Knowing what I know now, I probably wouldn't pay it, to be honest. But if I could get a concession, you know, if there's a bewildered backpackers concession ticket, half price, then yeah, I would do it. There are concessions down to €1.50, but online it doesn't tell you what those concessions are. I mean, some of it is probably going to be obvious. Children, invalids, students. Of course, I could try and embrace my Latvian pensioner, couldn't I? I could start asking about, oh, what are the pensioners' prices? And if they assume I'm a pensioner, I might get in for €3.50. But no, I don't want to go in again. Got better things to do. And from this notice board, I can see that Karosta's menage is not a zoo, not like a menagerie. It's a big empty building. Right. Interesting to film if you're just passing it, but I won't be going out of my way. There's that bridge. Here is the prison on the right. And the water tower, which isn't too far away. And we've got the church coming up, or the cathedral I should say, with its big shiny domes. The moles, the northern breakwater, and we've got broken forts as well. Karosta, the largest historical military territory in the Baltics, is part of Liepaja, yet is like a town within a town, somewhat harsh, marvellous, paradoxical, missing C? Don't know. And unique place that will not leave unimpressed, that will not leave you unimpressed. Massive construction of Russian Imperial military base with fortifications and a military camp was begun in 1890 to the north of Liepaja city. It was named after its founder, port of Emperor Alexander III, designed as a fully autonomous populated area with its own infrastructure, electricity power plant, water supply and sewage system, church and schools. Only at the time of the first Latvian independence, 1919 I think, it was more and more often referred to as Karosta, war port, later Karosta. During the Soviet time, Karosta was a closed and covert zone, inaccessible even for the civilian citizens of Liepaja. Today's Karosta reflects the interaction of Tsarist Russia military elegance and robust Soviet militarism. Well, they're bigging it up, aren't they? And why shouldn't they? We're going up this way in search of, well, if we see a water tower, all well and good. But we're really looking for those shiny domes over to the left, somewhere in the distance. St. Nicholas Orthodox Cathedral. An old church of sorts, now all bricked up. End of the road, and not looking too promising. Kind of reminds me of the old Soviet era 50s and Stalin, that kind of architecture. Good to see these buildings being maintained much better than they used to be. At the end of this, it's almost a Champs-Élysées, although it's not at all, is it really? But we can see the big shiny dome, so we're on the way to St. Nicholas's. Good-o. I'm not sure how good a view we're going to get as we get any closer because there are so many trees. It might be that this is the best opportunity we have. We'll find out soon enough. Unless I get hit by this lorry. Please do not enter the cathedral's territory with evil thoughts and words, with lit cigarette, intoxicated, in beach or other indecorous clothing. Please keep out dogs and other pets. All God's creatures, eh? Oh no, stop those evil thoughts. It certainly makes an impression, doesn't it? So this is the front entrance, but is it open? Oh, some people have just gone in. And I couldn't help noticing. Lady was wearing shorts, so I don't know if she'll be told to leave quickly. Well, that was a bit unfortunate. There's about half a dozen extremely elderly ladies who shouldn't be working, who were working in there with mops and buckets cleaning the floors. I managed to pick my way around them without making a mess, only to get to the little souvenir shop, place where they're selling icons, candles, postcards, to be met with a very unfriendly woman who just kept repeating the same things in Russian to me, slightly aggressively, and a very unsmiling face. So I wasn't made to feel welcome, but mind you, it could be that the last thing any of them need is some idiot coming in during floor washing time. So, you know, got to see it from their point of view, especially if you're just a damn tourist. I mean, who needs them? The surroundings of this church vastly improved, because I recall that it really was just in the middle of a bit of a dull pit. They've not produced miracles, of course, but they've gone some way to smarten up the surroundings. But what is left to be desired, of course, judging by what we see here. And I'm thinking, while this isn't the natural way I would walk to the beach, far from it, because I'm now walking north, I'm thinking this is where I will possibly come back to get the bus back to Hostel Breeze at the end of the day, because although it's not a bad little walk, not at all, There's at least one bus shelter, and I'm sure that's where the buses will take us back. We'll see. I might just completely confound my own logic and try again with that bridge. Depends how reckless I'm feeling.